My name is Alicia. I'm an aquarist here at the Audubon Society of Rhode Island. Welcome to Audubon at Home. Today we're going to be talking about Bay and Ocean here at the center. So this is Bay and Ocean. Some of our fish in here. We got some tautags, we got a look down, black sea bass, snowy grouper down here in the corner, and we got our little friend George. He's a pupper. So one of the important things that we do for Bay and Ocean is we have to do a water change. This replenishes all the minerals that the fish need in the water that they wouldn't normally get from their diet. So we take it down to about here, a little less than 50%, and then we fill it back up with seawater that we create in the back room. Another thing that we do is we have to scrub the acrylic. It's actually not glass, it's made out of acrylic. So we have to scrub that, and then the fiberglass walls behind it. So my favorite fish in here is Wilson. He is a tautog. He's hiding right now, but he'll swing around in a second. He's really personable. A lot of people don't realize that fish have a lot of personality. Many times they can recognize faces. So this is Wilson. He's the biggest, definitely the biggest fish in here. And he just has so much personality. I think he's adorable. So another fish that I really enjoy is our look down, who I have lost. Oh, he's right in the back. He's a very flat fish. They're called look downs because it looks like they're constantly looking down. Not the most creative name, but they're very cute. Another fish that has a lot of personality. We raised them at Roger Williams University over in the wet lab from an egg. They're tropical fish, but they are common visitors to New England. They're called Gulfstream Orphans. A lot of tropical fish will come up on the Gulf Stream, and then they'll end up living in New England for a little bit. So they're not native to here, but they do come up very frequently. It is not uncommon to see a look down off the coast of Rhode Island. An interesting fact about these flounder is they're hard to breed in captivity. However, we have been able to do that recently because of the pandemic. With the lights being off and less people, they went through a wintering cycle. So now that the lights are coming back on and more people are coming to visit, they're going back into their breeding season. It's still not quite the time of year, so that's why I use quotations. But they've been spawning like crazy. You can actually see this one down here. She's starting to, her gonad is starting to fill up with eggs. And the gonad is a reproductive organ that builds the eggs. So they're fun. For George, so our pupper George, my fun fact for him is he likes to spit water at me every time I go to feed. They spit water like crazy with a lot of aim. The little ones are starting to do it too. So we do have some much younger puppers that are in our focals tanks. They are about a year old at this point. So this pupper over here would be between 4 and 5 years old, basing on size. So these are our Juvenile Peppers. As I have mentioned before, they are about a year old. This is one of the water changes I was talking about. We drop it down to about 50% on these focal tanks, and to again replenish all the minerals and good nutrients that are in the water that eventually would get stripped, even though our tanks go through various filters. These nutrients and minerals still get stripped from the water, so we have to replenish that. They're a lot of fun. Again, another fish with a lot of personality. I know I say that a lot, but it's definitely something that people don't realize about fish. They really do have, each one has their own personality. And they're a lot of fun. Something that I should mention is, I know they all look like they are different sizes, but they are about the same age. Fish tend to grow at different rates. With many other animals, the bigger ones that grow the fastest tend to pick on the little ones. And so some of them don't grow as fast because they can't get as much food. But here at the Audubon, we make sure that everyone gets as much food. So another explanation for their size difference could be just genetic. You know, just like people, we grow it to be different sizes, different heights. Fish do the same thing. So these are our northern star coral. This is specifically what I do research on. These guys are really, really cool because they are temperate coral. Most people think of coral, when they think of coral, they think of tropical coral, down off like off of Florida, or they think of coral off the Great Barrier Reef. But these coral, they don't get very big. They're not like the large, beautiful coral that you might think of down in the tropics, but they're amazing model species that can help us learn more about bleaching in tropical corals. So you might notice that some of these corals look very pale. They're called white corals, and some of them are a lot darker, more back. Those are brown. And that's all based on their symbiotic algae. So a lot of tropical coral rely on their symbiotic algae to get food through photosynthesis. But these coral, these northern star coral, or Astrangia pacillata, rely on getting food on, they're heterotrophs, they get food on their own. So their tentacles will extend out, and their pneumatocysts, which are their stinging cells, will grab onto little copepods and they'll draw them back into their mouths. A copepod, I don't know if anyone watches SpongeBob, but plankton on SpongeBob is exactly what a copepod is. So these are our focal tanks. However, Astrangia, or the northern star coral, is found out in the bay and ocean around New England. Their range is from the Gulf of Mexico, right off around Florida, and all the way up to Buzzards Bay in Massachusetts. So we actually find these right off the shore right here in Mount Hope Bay. In these coral there is a symbiotic algae called breviolum, so that's their fancy name. But what that means is that these coral take in little tiny microscopic pieces of algae, single-celled algae, and they incorporate it into their systems. They don't eat them, they live in harmony together, and they provide shelter for the algae, but the algae provides food for the coral. So symbiotic means that it works great for both parties involved, and they both benefit from each other. So this is where we make our water for the day. So we got these two tanks, these two barrel tanks. Each one of them fits 300 gallons, so we have 600 to work with. So we use instant ocean salt and RO, reversed osmosis water, which means that there's nothing in it. So when this water comes in after the filters, there's minerals in it, only the good stuff, but there's nothing else like chlorines or a lot of things that you might get out of tap water. So this is very pure water that we add salt to make it the right salinity. Salinity meaning that it's the right amount of saltiness for the fish and all our invertebrates. They're connected via these pipes up here and down here with a pump right there that circulates all of it through. This helps mix all the salt. There's also air stones in these towers that pump air into it. That way the water is oxygenated when we go to do a water change later on. So now we're going to go feed the fish. So now we're going to feed Bay and Ocean. So what we feed them in the morning when we first come in is we feed them pellets. They have a lot of nutrients in them. It's basically like giving them their vegetables, like their broccoli. And they love their broccoli. But they also need their protein. So this is the main course of their entree. We feed them squid. There's still a lot of nutrients in this which they need, and they love it. It's like candy to them. However, it's healthy candy.